Hey, Shalom, Shalom. Call halal Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Of course, double honors once again go to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who through the Holy Spirit continue to teach us this knowledge, wisdom, and give us this understanding. All right. If you ever want to know what they really think, you bring up this issue. All right. This is, of course, from Fox News. And it says California, New York localities push reparations through universal basic income. All right. Rochester is also proposing a home ownership program. You don't say. All right. Let's go ahead and roll the video.
Homeowners, this incredible tip is just for you. If you owe less than $331,760,
A California county is helping fund a controversial new program that sends guaranteed payments every month to certain residents based on their sex and their race. Senior correspondent Claudia Cowan has the details. Hi, Claudia.
Hi, Julie. You know, in most of these guaranteed income programs designed to help minorities, the money comes from charity groups or nonprofits. But here in Marin County, tax dollars are being used for a program that is restricting participation, as you said, based on gender and race. Marin County is kicking in $400,000 to help support an experiment that will give 125 low-income mothers $1,000 a month for 2 years. But only mothers of color are eligible.
Low-income moms have to deal with challenges, no question about that. But the added burden of racism and discrimination, those two things are unique to moms of color, and so that's what we're testing.
The Marin Community Foundation has partnered with the county on the $3 million demonstration, which is called Momentum. The $400,000 coming from the county won't go to the mothers directly, but will be used to help with job training and other support services. Even so, legal experts say government using any public funds for a program based on race is illegal.
Even if they're going around and trying to design it in a way that is tricky or hides what they're doing is simple. It is discrimination, and it is government money going to discriminate, and that is unlawful.
He also called out Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf for promoting a similar equity program run by Oakland Resilient Families. The nonprofit initially said its program was solely for poor BIPOC families. That's Black, Indigenous people of color. But they've now backtracked, and their website says it will support families with the greatest wealth disparities. No mention of race. Back here in...
See, let me stop it right there. Nothing can be exclusively for us. All right. Look here on the left, original. Oakland Resilient Families, all right, provides 600 randomly selected Oakland families, that's under that BIPOC program, all right. Groups with the greatest wealth disparities per the Oakland Equity Index. Updated. Oakland Resilient Families is targeted to support families with the greatest wealth disparities, all right. So they want everybody included in this, all right? And you think, hey, just wait till I get to the comments, all right? Continuing on, it's not much more.
The Momentum Basic Income Program will set to kick off appropriately on Mother's Day, and conservative groups will be watching. They say if a poor white mother feels harmed by being excluded, she could have legal standing to file a lawsuit in federal court.
All right, you know. You can see it in her face, like, see, this is why you shouldn't be expecting anything from these devils, all right? Because in the end, knowing the scriptures, we know that they're going to be our reparations, and breaking them according to Revelations chapter 2, verses 25 through 27, is going to be oh so much fun. All right. It goes on to say, race-based universal basic income payments are starting to gain steam in the U.S. as a form of reparation. Of course it is, because you're still tethered to them. You're still dependent on them. All right. So it's just another form of slavery. How people just don't get it. Uh, Last week, Marin County in California approved payments of $1,000 a month to 125 qualifying residents for 2 years in partnership with the Marin County Foundation. And of course, on top of this, you notice it's only 125 women. It's like, what more help does the so-called black woman need? Again, putting a bigger wedge in between the so-called black man and the woman. All right. Still keeping the family unit separate. All right. In New York, Rochester's mayor also suggested leveraging revenues from marijuana legalization to pay reparations to black and brown residents. All right. That's kind of ironic since the majority of our people are in these jails on minor offenses, and now the shit's legalized. But still, I mean, man, wow. Rochester mayor, and that's her right there. Lovely Warren is her name. Thursday sent a letter to a Latino-focused nonprofit requesting it to join her administration on an exploratory committee to look into the issue. So you got Southern and Northern Kingdom, all right, joining together, the women folk, all right. Wow. Oh, just don't get it. I mean, this is just going to be another exercise in futility. All right, it's only going to make things worse. Again, wait till I get to the damn comments. All right. It says Marin County is contributing $400,000 to the program. The remainder, $3 million, coming from the community foundation of that county. The program is slightly modeled after a similar one that ran from February 2019 to February 2020 in Stockton, California. The Marin County program, however, has a couple of conditions for residents to receive payments. Recipients must be women of color and have a child under the age of 18. As you can see here, Evanston, Illinois, and that's another story. All right. And you got to wonder, what is the cause of all of this now? All right. Wow. Talking about, wow. And of course, let's see, I'm skipping down because, let's see. Here's the reason. That's what I was looking for. It says, however, the commission added they had found practices and conditions where diversity of race, ethnicity, and gender are nearly non-existent, where people of color are unable to fully participate and are implicitly or explicitly excluded from opportunities that could enhance their economic, social, and mental health. That's common knowledge. All right? And where people of color are denied the opportunity to participate in the rule making and decision making that shapes our lives from birth to death. All right? That's exactly what's been going on. All right? According to Warren's letter, and again, that's her right here, Lovely A. Warren, she's the mayor of Rochester, New York. All right? Oh yeah, here it is. According to Warren's letter, the exploratory committee would review UBI and reparation pilot programs in other cities. It specifically mentions Evanston, Oakland, both of which are pursuing monetary assistance for black families. In Oakland, the payments consist of $500 in monthly payments for 18 months to 600 families who are black, indigenous, or people of color. And you know what? This is, mm, wow. It's an insult, okay? It's a fucking insult. And here you are, you have these fake ass Jews in our land con the whole world into believing that bullshit Holocaust. And they get money for that shit from this country alone in the billions each year. And here, the people that have been royally screwed for centuries, whenever something like this comes up, all right, you get all kinds of backlash and attitude. So let's go to the comments. Number one, this is 9 hours ago or thereabouts. Storm Sun. So what happens when you give someone $500 or $1,000 a month for, let's say, 18 months, like the Oakland program, and the 18 months go by? Now the recipients are going to say, well, wait, you can't just cut me off like that. I depend on that money. Now you're putting me on the street. If you don't see the problem with this, you have the same fuzzy, illogical thinking that plague most, and he's got it in quotations, progressives. I am okay with helping people by providing training programs, temporary housing, placement assistance, but when you make someone dependent on the government, it does nothing to solve the underlying problem. It destroys their dignity, takes away the incentive to better themselves and their situation, and simply makes them a permanent ward of the state, which may be exactly what progressives want. And yet, look at the history of the 48ers. They get all kinds of assistance, not limited to, let's say, military, weaponry. Hell, they even got nukes. Wow. And like I said, this country alone gives them billions annually. But no one has a problem with that. They went over there and immediately started shit with their neighbors who know that they are not who they say they are. And yet, things just go on. And of course they make it illegal, especially in Germany, when you deny the Holocaust, all right? But the truth would need no such measures to defend it, because it would be the truth. Simply amazing. Simply amazing. And the commenter, Bowman02, says, bingo. More privileged than thou says, all of what we are miscalling affirmative action. It is never a true milestone or a fork in the road. It turns into all the steps of a life and is walking every step, not just through the education, whatever. All right. Former Democrat 3 says, I work in the social service field and I can tell you that this is not a good, thing to have the outcome that many people are assuming. This is only creating a system of financial dependency on the government. I agree. Look at Israel. And make no mistake, I'm not just, being like a smart ass, all right? Yeah. This thing is, but you've got to understand, Jake did not want this. Jake tried everything. Let's see, let's look at this. This is, and I won't be able to go through it all for time's sake, disenfranchisement after Reconstruction era, and it's talking about our people. All right, and the steps that these wicked ass so-called white people took to keep us in our place, to keep us from progressing. And yet Jake still, all right, prospered in some respects. But what did these wicked pieces of shit do? They burned down our towns. All right, then I mean, wow, the Ku Klux Klan, hello, terrorism, Jim Crow, all these things. It's not something you can just say, oh, just pull up your bootstraps and no. But this is the thing that scares them because despite all that I just mentioned and what's on this page here, we're still here. And a lot of our people, without this bullshit here, it only took like one generation. Go figure. And yet you have these pieces of shit on that comment board. Blah, 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 blah. That's all they want is a handout, blah, 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 blah. That's why I cannot wait. I hope there's a cause or a situation where you can roll all this shit back to each individual that posted shit like this throughout their lives. Say, come here. Yeah, you remember this? And show them this shit. Remember you said that shit? Yeah. Alright, we got something for that. And just make their lives or what passes for life miserable. Alright? Like it says, give unto them double. Alright? And it goes, of course, into all these amendments that came after the Civil War. Goes into the Ku Klux Klan, these vigilante groups that they had. Alright, it wasn't just a Klan, there were others. The red shirts, shit like that. All these policies, the White League, all this shit. Knights of the White Camellia, various rifle clubs, all these things were formed to terrorize Jake. Alright? As far as the voting and all that, that was what the 15th Amendment initially was written up for. Poll tax, other things, literacy tests, anything to keep, and even here's I went right to it, spirit. Post-Reconstruction disfranchisement, excuse me. Following continuing violence around elections as insurgents worked to suppress black voting, the Democratic-dominated southern states, see, that goes to show you, a lot of people don't know before I guess it was the 30s, roles were switched as far as these parties. Alright? It was these southern states that were mostly Democratic, and you had the Klan and all that. Alright? None of these are for our benefit. Don't care which party you align yourself with. Anyway, it says the Democratic-dominated southern states passed legislation to create barriers to voter registrations by blacks and poor whites, starting with the Georgia poll tax in 1877. Other measures followed, particularly near the end of the century, after a Republican populist alliance caused the Democrats to temporarily lose some congressional seats and control of some gubernatorial positions. All right, and there's instances and there's cases in here where you would have, say, an Edomite that would try to stick up. Oh, they got him up out of there. All right. Then you go into, like I said, literacy test. That's right here. Literacy test assesses a person's literacy skills, their ability to read and write. Literacy tests have been administered by various governments to immigrants. All right, and you even had some poor Edomites that couldn't do it, but they had something that got them through called, another name for it was the grandfather clause. Let's see, 1890, let's see if I can find it. Here it is. This is under the new state constitutions, 1890 to 1908. With educational improvements, blacks had markedly increased their rate of literacy. All right. So what did these devils do? By 1891, the illiteracy had declined to 58%, while the rate of white literacy in the South at that time was 31%. What did I say? In most cases, it only took us like one generation. All right, this is one of those examples. Post-Civil War. All right, some states used grandfather clauses. It says a grandfather clause is a provision in which an old rule continues to apply to some existing situations, while a new rule will apply to all future cases. Those exempt from the new rule are said to have grandfather rights or acquired rights, or to have been grandfathered in. All right. It says to exempt white voters from literacy tests altogether. So you see how they skirt around and make shit fit what, situation calls for. You see why you can't win in this shit? Wow. Continuing on, it says other states required otherwise eligible black voters to meet literacy and knowledge requirements to the satisfaction of white registrars, who applied subjective judgment and in the process rejected most black voters. So it didn't matter if you passed or not. If they deemed you not qualified, you weren't getting your ass through. You see? And these yahoos on this comment board disregard all this and just think it's all our fault. See? This is why. This is what gets under my skin here. Alright? There's no way to win here. Alright. Macintosh 76772 says actually they already have reparations. It's called affirmative action and welfare. Guess what? It didn't work. And this won't work either. Wow. Next one. Ag. This will encourage more illegitimate births, and we know from social studies that most people that end up in jail come from fatherless households. All right, you piece of shit. Why are there fatherless households? Wow. Wow. Nothing more I can say but wow. I want to say some things, but I don't want to. Cassandra Complex. Beyond changing policies and procedures, we must do more to close the wealth gap between black and brown people and our white residents. You cannot legislate the poor into freedom by legislating the wealthy out of freedom. That's some shit somebody, Dr. Adrian Rogers. All right. Wow. If you wish to aid people of color, and education and job training would be your focus. Handing out money to people keeps them quiet and satisfied, while at the same time you undermine their ability to gain employment by crushing businesses with taxation. You see, they got us literally between a rock and a hard place, and that's why scriptures like Micah 2 and 10, Hebrews 11, 15, 16, 14, 15, 16, and then Hebrews 13 and 14 come up, because there's no way to win here. This was not designed for our pleasure to succeed, to have family. We're still being punished here, all right? This place was set up to be punishment. Life above zero. Thank you. So well stated at Cassandra Complex, what I just read. Now here's this simple son of a bitch. WLM 2021. My family, both sides, came here in 1949 after the war, married into families of other immigrants. Does that mean we will get a tax break and not have to fund this program? We still have paperwork from Germany and were brought here legally with the help of Catholic charities. We should be exempt since we never owned slaves or had previous family here. Also, we all got jobs and worked to get what we have without handouts or welfare. But you profited, all right, from a system that was created off the backs of our people and our brothers Gad and Reuben that were already here. That's what you did. It's like I'm thinking of these charges that Esau likes to throw out in his criminal justice system. All right. So you still profited off of a crime, regardless of if you were here or not. That does not matter. All right. That falls under guilty by association. Wow. Bigfoot, aka Daryl. My family never owned slaves. Some fought and died for the Union to free slaves. So I should get a reparation from those who are benefiting from my relatives freeing them and their sacrifice. Get the fuck out of here. X-Mark. Why isn't this blatant racism? We keep being told that certain decisions are made based upon color of skin and such practices must stop. Now we have proposals, in reality in some cases, of decisions based upon skin color, and the practice is applauded by the same stripe who objected earlier. What am I missing? Bowman 02, in response to X-Mark, you are missing a low IQ, a victim mentality, and a strong sense of entitlement. All of these attributes are needed to understand why this is not racist. Wow. See, now, true. What's that old so-called African proverb, which more or less, I think, that sounds like something Hebrew. You know, you give a man, you know, a fish and he can eat today, something along those lines, but you teach him how to fish. All right. Well, that's true. No one's discounting that. But you're not taking into account the history here. And you know what? They don't want to. All right, because they don't want to acknowledge that they played a big part in why our people have been, I guess, arrested development or, wow, it's just, wow. Oh boy. Wow. That's all I can, you know, of course I'll put this in the link. Wow. You know, Abad Babal all day long. Fuck this place. Alright. And now they got this guy, Floyd, you know, that's this show going on. They've already given the family $27 million. So it's like, Did they make some kind of deal behind doors? I don't know. You know, it's sickening when you think about all the shit that goes on. All right, in regards, look at this. I still can't get over this bitch. Look at the expression on her face. It's like, you know, wow. That's why if you're not in the mindset of this place going down, I really don't want to be around you, especially if you're another Jake. All right, fuck everybody else. That's all who, you know, be concerned about. All right, so with that, hey, oh man, let me get a closing scripture here. Yes. This should be your mindset. This is Isaiah 51 and 14. The captive exile hasteneth that he may be loosed, and that he should not die in the pit. This system is a pit. This place we're in is a pit. All right? Nor that his bread should fail. That's the mentality you should be in. Get the fuck up out of this place. All right, so with that, call halal Yahweh, Ba'al Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'al Shem Yahweh Dash. Hey, Shalom.